Hey everyone, Chad here with Digging History, and welcome to this week's episode. Now, I know normally we're out somewhere in a farm field detecting, but I thought I would do something a little different this week and kind of show you some of the work that we do behind the scenes in regards to some of the items that we found. The guys and I often say when we're out in the field, like, how cool would it be if this thing could talk and tell us its story? Or, how awesome it would be to be able to go back in time and see these places the way that they were back in the day, be there when the people drop these items and see the kind of impact that it actually had on their life. So I'm going to attempt to kind of do that this week. Recently, I found probably one of the coolest things that I've ever found. And after staring at it forever and showing it to every person that I know, I decided to sit down and really kind of dig deep and do some research on the item and the history behind it. And what I found was pretty awesome. So I wanted to share that with you this week. So I hope you guys will enjoy it. So here we go. The Real was established under King Pedro of Castile and Leon. He was also known as Peter the Cruel in the mid 14th century. They were minted from a Castilian mark of silver, which was roughly about 93% pure, and were distributed amongst other silver coins up until an ordinance in 1497 eliminated all other coins and retained the Real. The silver reals were minted in denominations of half, 1, 2, 4, and 8 reals. Spanish conquistadors started flocking to the New World in search of silver and gold, so it should be no surprise that shortly after their arrival, the Mexican mint emerged. Antonio de Mendoza, who was acting under the authority of the Spanish crown, founded the Mexican mint in 1535, and it's the oldest continuously operated mint in the New World. Fun fact: the oldest mint operating in the world is the Mint of France, which was established in 864 AD, followed by the British Royal Mint that was established in 886 AD. That's old. In 1536, the first coins produced in the Americas was Johanna and Carlos. The Mexican mint flourished because of the ease of access to silver in the region. It quickly became one of the largest producers of coinage in North America and established a reputation for its quality and its purity. Now, during Spain's almost 300 years of reign, there were 5 different types of Spanish reals that were produced. The pillar type real was the first minted in the New World, and they were minted between 1536 and 1572. Now, their key characteristics of these were they were hand-struck cobs, typically on a round, full-size planchet. One side has a pair of pillars, and on the other side displays a simple shield with lions and castles in the 4 quadrants. So the second style that was minted in the New World was the shield type. These were minted between 1572 and 1734. Interestingly enough, starting in 1609, these were the first year that the date was actually on the coin. So their key characteristics were that they were a hand-struck silver cob, typically degrading in quality throughout the period. One side had a crowned multi-element shield representing the lands under Spanish control. The other side depicts a cross with lions and castles in the 4 quadrants. So the third style of real that was minted in the New World was the pillars and wave style. These were minted between 1651 and 1773. Their key characteristics include being hand-struck cobs, again, typically degrading in quality throughout the period. One side has a pair of pillars with waves and 2 horizontal lines. The other side displays a cross with lions and castles in the 4 quadrants. So the fourth style of real that were minted in the New World were the milled pillar style, and these were the first to be machine struck in the New World. They were minted between 1732 and 1772. Their key characteristics include, as I said, being machine struck on a full-size round plancet, one side depicting a pair of pillars with waves separated by two overlapping globes crowned with a single crown. The other side displays a simple crowned shield with the typical lions and castles, but also with the addition of the three fleur-de-lis in the center. This style is also typically known as the Pils and Globes style real. So the fifth and final type to be minted in the New World was known as the milled bust, and these were minted between 1771 and 1825. Their key characteristics included a machine struck on a round, full-size silver plancet. One side displays the bust of a king, and the other side a pair of pillars separated by a crowned, simple shield with lions, castles, and the three fleur-de-lis in the center. So the most notable innovation was the Spanish dollar, also known as a piece of eight. The Spanish dollar became the most recognized coin in North America, and the first 8 reals produced in America was Philippe II in 1556 to 1598. Now, after the discovery of silver in Mexico, Bolivia, and Peru in the late 16th century, the 8 real, also known as a dollar or a peso or a piece of 8, became an internationally recognized trade coin all across Europe, Asia, and North America. The Spanish 8 reals was considered the money standard from the time that it was mint. The Mexico Mint began striking the coin in the late 1530s up until the 1850s. So the Spanish dollar was worth 8 real, and it was often physically cut into 8 pieces or bits to make change, hence the term pieces of 8. Now, while most know this term because of in relation to pirates, because of books and movies, it actually was a term commonly used at the time. So, fun fact. The Spanish dollar was so much larger and heavier than other coins in circulation at the time that it was often cut into 8 bits, each equaling 1/8 of a dollar or 12.5 cents. So 2 bits would equal 25 cents or a quarter of a dollar. So later on, when the American quarter came to be, it earned the nickname 2 bits because it was literally worth 2 parts of a Spanish dollar. The reason why Spanish reals are found at sites all across the United States is that during the colonial times, they were the primary coin of circulation. Along with its fractional parts, the half, the 1, the 2, and the 4 reals, they were legal coinage in the United States until February 21st of 1857, when the Coinage Act brought an end to the circulation of foreign currencies in the United States. So during the 19th century, the 8 real was replaced as a currency by the British pound. One determining factor was the independence of the American colonies, which meant the loss of mines and mints. Let's also remember that during the 19th century, the gold standard was imposed by Europe, coinciding with the growth of international transactions. Silver was gradually disappearing from coinage, and the British influence in various parts of the world led to the rise of banking. Thus, the British pound became an international currency due to the importance of Great Britain in the international financial network. Now, although I couldn't confirm this, in my research, I did come across a couple references to the British actually producing counterfeit reals in order to try and devalue the Spanish currency. But despite that and everything else that was going on at the time, the 8 real continued in circulation for a little while longer, especially in those countries that only accepted the Hispanic currency. Today, Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Cuba, the Philippines, Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and Uruguay all have pesos in their currency. And in the past, 12 other nations did as well. Additionally, Korea, China, and Japan have all based their modern currencies off of the Spanish dollar, giving rise to the won, the yuan, and the yen. Fun fact: when the United States minted its own dollar, it used the Spanish real as a model. The pillars of Hercules and their legend were simplified into the dollar sign. So there is no doubt that the 8 real had an influence throughout the world for centuries, and it also helped set the precedent for what the British pound and the US dollar would later achieve. I feel so very fortunate in this hobby to have been lucky enough to find one of these. It is a absolute top bucket list find. My favorite thing I've ever found. I will cherish this thing forever. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you have found it informative. I will share some links down below and with to some of the research that I did while doing this. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And also consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already, because all of that stuff helps out with our analytics. It helps getting our videos shared out. And we just greatly appreciate it. I hope to do more videos like this in the future, as well as do some that will showcase some of the really cool historical places that we live in and around here. So with all of that, I greatly appreciate your support, and thanks for watching.